You heard him in season 1, but the card attendants are back. Season 2 of Card Attendant Confessions with Rick and Paul.
Thanks for waiting. The wait is now over.
Everyone else got canceled. Somehow these guys are still here.
They went.
How are we still here? How are we back?
We're back.
Good to be back.
We are back just
They
how we
renewed us.
started, just on a whim. Like, oh, hey, let's just record right now.
We were gone. We were goners. We were left for dead after season 1.
Literally nobody knew where we
picked
were.
us up.
Still no advertisers, which is just crazy.
Quality has probably gotten worse in terms of video.
Right. Well, yeah, I am
looking real blurry right now.
Real blurry right now.
Did you add blur effect? Well, like I said, no one picked us up.
Maybe that's the microphone.
The bottom of the mic just has a strobe light on it, because that's necessary.
Man, we couldn't even get DraftKings to sponsor us, and they sponsor everybody.
I couldn't get the local Moose Lodge to sponsor us.
Hey, I was on the Moose Lodge Dodgers when we won the TOCs in Little League back in the year 2000.
I was going to say, Moose Lodge just sounds like something that would be on your jersey while you're at Porky's Pizza after a baseball game, after a Little League game. Like, yes. The Moose Lodge Braves. The Moose Lodge Dodgers. Wow.
We are the Moose Lodge Dodgers.
Of course you were the Dodgers.
So Rick, where have you been? What have you been up to?
I had to go back and look. When was the end of season 1? It wasn't even really supposed to be the end of season 1. It just, we got canceled. And I think that was in June 2024. So we
got back in under a year.
Yeah. We did some retooling. We retooled the farm system. And we bootstrapped ourselves, and season 2 is here. So where have I been? You got to go back a year. I think it was around August when I proposed to my fiance. So that was happening as we stepped away.
Congratulations! Wow.
And there was a ton going on there. Probably contributed to the lack of potting, but I feel like I had so many good stories to tell during that time, and then they all went to. Yeah, I don't remember them. So sorry.
Right around that same time, I was packing up and I moved to Arizona. I'm in a completely different state now than from season 1 Card Attendant Confessions.
You're in a different state. I'm in a different state of relationship. And we're in a different state of fandom.
This is, I think, the biggest reason why we're back.
Would you like to confess? Shall we? Oh, there it is. Padres, huh?
Padres. The A's fandom. A's fandom is over. We
it was completely dead, as was evident with us in agony for 12 episodes last year.
Yeah, if for our longtime listeners, you know the pain that Rick and I went through of being A's fans and just how we were feeling. It's over. You know, we put up a good fight. We fought the good long fight, and we lost. We lost. It's over.
That's what I was doing when the pod last left off. We were seeing our last A's games at the Coliseum.
Man.
Fireworks nights and pissing in troughs. And we got to do it all one last time. And then that was it. That was the closure. One more time.
Our last game was
the closure.
That was the final Saturday home game against the Yankees. I remember the final score because it was laughable. We lost 10-0 to the Yankees, but I didn't watch a single pitch of baseball. I literally looked around at the Coliseum the entire game. We were up in the treehouse at one point, and I'm just looking out at the stadium at the different seats where we saw different moments. I looked over to the second deck on third base. I'm like, oh, that's where Rick and I saw Emil Brown hit a walk-off. And I was like, oh, there's Diamond Level. That's where Rick and I saw back-to-back years of walk-offs. And yeah, no, when the 7th inning stretch started and the take me out to the ball game started, just one slow tear just went down the face.
Just a bunch of people that we've seen around the Coliseum. I caught up with a few people. It was quite the farewell. And then the waterworks started at the end for me, but the whole time was just like a an out of body experience. And then
It really
I went to the
was.
farewell game too, or I went to the last game ever, and Mason Miller ended up saving that one,
Hmm.
and they ended it with a win. So that was nice. But I mean, in terms of the farewell, it was long gone already before that. My
Yeah,
cousin Mondo and I
the
did
writing was on
sit.
the wall.
Right, we did go back down to the area of the opposing team bullpen, which is kind of where the black hole was when the Raiders played there. And so we used to sit there for Raider games. So we did sit there and kind of just look up at what our view used to be for football games, which is honestly, I kind of cared about that more because those times were super solid too. And that was the farewell. And then the rest of the
For
year
the
happened.
longest
I went to New
time.
Jersey for a college. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, before we move past that one, going back for the longest time, I didn't think we would ever root for like another team again. I didn't think we would be fans of another franchise again. We talked about it for a couple years when the A's first announced the move to Vegas. We looked at our options and like we weren't going to give up on the A's until it was like officially official. But like we looked around like I don't think we could be a fan of another team. We talked about the Pirates and the Orioles and all these different teams. Like it just got to a point where like, oh, I guess we're just going to follow baseball now because like we're not going to be a Giants fan. We're not going to go over the other side of the bay. Just didn't know what the hell we were going to do. And I think after about
Can't be a Giants fan.
after like 5 to 6 months of mourning and just we mourned the loss of A's in our fandom. Like things started to finally heal once pitchers and catchers were about to report, and I think that's when you hit me up and we kind of made that decision.
Yeah, I was like watching a spring training game or a friend who had just visited San Diego or something, dropped that on me and was like, "So are you going to root for the Padres?" And no one's ever, I mean, that wasn't ever proposed really. And I sat there and I was like, my first reaction should be no. Why is it not no immediately? And then it was like, I hella want to say yeah right now.
Yeah,
And then in fun, I said, yeah, of course. Like, I'll root for the Padres. Like, I don't have anything against them. And then and I'm like, you used to work down there. You lived there, and you saw
I
plenty of
lived in San
Padres
Diego
games.
for 8 years.
I've been down there a few times and been to games and have loved every time I visited and plan to go back more times in my life. But when it comes to watching games on TV and following a team, I know the team, they play on the West Coast. They play the teams that I already don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so I text you and I'm like, why aren't we Padres fans?
And at the
Why
same
aren't
time,
you
I
a
was
Padres fan? Because there has to be a good reason since you were already there. And
yeah.
I
Well,
figured that would have been
if you
natural.
remember back in season 1 of Card 10 Confessions, I had a grind my gear segment of how much I despised Padre fans for having little brother syndrome. And
Oh, yeah.
because
That was brought up a couple of times. I remember talking.
and I hated the giant spinning chain medallions that old men would wear to the spinner chain because that was like a home run celebration for 1 year. But like other than that, I had no
Yeah.
reason not to be a Padres fan. I worked at a brewery right next door to Petco Park. I was there. I was working there when they beat the Dodgers in the division series, and I believe in 21 or 22, whatever year that was. Just seeing everybody just storm the streets celebrating. It reminded me of when we used to walk across the bridge back to Bart at the Coliseum celebrating a win, and the cars would drive by and do the honking of the "Let's Go Oakland" chant. And so just reminiscing on that. And again, like we had that connection. The Padres, their rivals were our rivals from being A's fans. West Coast, beautiful ballpark. You know they're not going anywhere. They spend money on players, keep their
Yeah.
homegrown talent. But we could buy a Padres jersey if we wanted to, and know that player is going to be there for the next 5 to 10 years.
Well
We've
said.
never had that
I
as
mean,
an A's
that
fan.
hits it right. And I think we couldn't not root for a team. It's as being baseball fans, I feel like that would kill the love for the game. I mean, it already kind of did a little bit, but I mean, the game is here. It's not going anywhere. I want to watch the game. I want to be a fan.
Yeah.
And I know what I don't want to root for. I take a hard stance in that now even more. I know what I
Mhm.
don't want to root for. Things that have to do with like the fans there at the stadium or wearing the chains and stuff. Yeah, last year definitely mentioned that. Definitely said that grinded gears. But every fan base has that. I can name a bunch of things that A's fans did that was super annoying.
The ridiculous cowboy hats, the foam cowboy hat.
Right. So if you get real granular and think
Mhm.
about what 50,000 people might do that's annoying, each and every different one of them, you'll go crazy. So then I began to like throw that out the window, be like, oh, okay. If you just don't think about other people, like think about the org, the way it's ran, and the stadium atmosphere in the ballpark, and them trying to win.
They're
And I want an
trying.
org that tries to win.
They're trying.
And that's
Yeah,
the
they're in a
Padres.
division with the Dodgers where like you could get away with just not competing for the next 10 years because like why would I spend money just to have the Dodgers win the division again? But they're trying, and that's all you could really ask for. The A's never tried.
They've also haven't been like a World Series contender year after
Yep.
year. They've gotten pretty close the last few years, making the playoffs and even beating the Dodgers a couple years ago in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But it's not like they have really accomplished much at all in the entire organizational history. They made the World Series one time with Tony Gwynn in 98
98.
or 99.
98, and I believe they got swept by the Yankees.
Right. So because there was also the bandwagon component too.
Yes,
Like
that absolutely plays.
if I chose to be a Dodgers fan, if I chose to be a Yankees fan, if I chose to be a Giants fan, it just feels bandwagony.
It does.
It's just not a thing. It's just for some people, sure. I hear of A's fans becoming Dodgers fans, and it's gross.
It is gross.
But you
And
do
I
you, and I'm gonna do me, and that's why. Like we were all A's fans once, but we were different though, and now we see the different fibers and the fabric of each of the A's fans. Some of y'all were actually pretty whack. So, and
The
then there's
way I
some that are just hanging on, and it's pathetic and sad.
Oh, it's sad. It's sad now seeing these people still hang on. Like,
dude,
it's over. And the way I
have some
put it,
pride, man.
I make this analogy, and I said it to you before, is like we were freedom fighters for the A's because we were fighting for everything but like the actual like baseball on the field. We were always fighting for against people that talk crap about the stadium, talk crap about the team, and all this stuff. And we spent so long defending the team that we just couldn't enjoy baseball anymore because our identity was us fighting against players or fighting against other fans and talking crap about our team. That's what we spent. Like now being a Padres fan, we just get to enjoy baseball. I haven't enjoyed baseball in 5+ years because I've just been fighting this fight with the as an A's fan. I'm tired of fighting.
We watched
now
so
I just
much
get to watch
spring
baseball.
training, watched opening day, watched the day after opening day, watched every game after that. It's just like it is so cool to be a fan again and follow a team, follow an organization, follow the prospects, not worry about just bullshit after bullshit and these articles coming out and wondering if this thing's going to happen and none of it having to do with baseball, like you said. And so I have a cousin who he chose to be a Red Sox fan and follow the Red Sox this year, and he's having a great time. He's following baseball way more than he ever did because he's enjoying it by watching that team, and he knows their prospects already, and he's following that. Like the grass is greener. It doesn't have to be torture. And I think I said this on Twitter to someone who was like still following the A's or complaining about their current state. And I was like, it doesn't have to be that way. And being a fan of anything, but in this case, being a fan of baseball, it shouldn't be that way. It doesn't need to be that way. You don't need to be tortured and taken advantage of every step of the way. Choose something fun and what brings you joy. And so that's where we've been. We've been finding our joy over the last year.
We took back our fandom and we found joy. But yeah, I think that catches us up on our fandom. Something else I want to catch everybody up on is I'm I'm recording from a couch right now. I'm not at like my desk or anything. I'm at
Yeah, I was
this
gonna say
terrible
you look
angle.
like you're kicking back a bit.
Yeah, I'm kicking back and relaxing. It's because I just had ankle surgery last month, and because I broke my ankle and I dislocated my knee for the fourth time. um,
Ouch back.
and you might be saying like, "Oh wow, Paul, were you doing something like super hardcore or anything like that?" Uh-uh,
Oh wow, Paul, were you do something super hardcore or something like that?
uh-uh. I I was playing intramural softball because I'm a student again at Arizona State, and I was playing intramural softball with classmates where I am, no
Go
lie,
Devils.
10 years older than the next person. I am the
Go on.
I am the oldest person by a mile. They call me Unk. I am just
Oh
yeah, it's a tough scene. It's
no.
a tough scene for your boy. Uh
Unk?
Unk. I
I
got
haven't
called
gotten the
Unk.
unk yet, but
Yeah,
wow.
you also don't spend 5 days a week with people 10 years younger than you. It's so
I guess if there's enough of them around you, someone's bound to.
mhm. And so a group of us, we started an intramural softball team, and it's through the school and whatnot. And back on March 24th was our opening day, and it's we were destroying this
You guys
team. We were winning
march down the
16 to
palm walk and
1.
with your banner.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we started doing chants and all that. We were winning 16 to 1. This game is over. I have a couple hits locked up, but nothing too great. And the pitcher was it was kind of like a walk fest. And the pitcher, my last at bat of the game, this softball thing, it's timed. You only play for an hour, or 7 innings or an hour, whatever comes first. And there's about 4 minutes left in the game. We're winning 16 to 1. This game is over. It is done for. And the pitcher who's been walking everybody kind of all game serves me up a cookie. And as it's coming in, I said, "Oh, I'm gonna turn on this one." And I made contact, and the ball
Something
went
turned,
far.
all right.
Something did turn. The ball went far, I think, because as soon as I made contact, next thing I know, I'm on the ground because I've ripped up everything in my right leg. The old man that's playing with the younger students just destroyed in the batter's box.
I get a text from you earlier that day. Maybe it was the day before, but it was close to your game. And you said, "Oh yeah, I signed up for this intramural softball league. Today's opening day. I'm gonna they got me hitting cleanup. They really think I'm gonna
I was the number
do
3
something
hitter.
there.
Yeah, that's what I was the number 3 hitter and starting first baseman.
And you said, "I'll be surprised if I make it through the whole season. Supposed to have an MRI, but I'll wait till next week."
Oh, no.
4 hours later, I had a text in that same thread right after you said all that. Goes, "I broke my ankle and dislocated my knee. I'm out. The dream is over."
Oh, man. You know
It's
that
pretty funny
meme
because
where
it was like in the same like iPhone window. Like I
Mhm.
barely even needed to scroll up to see the other texts that said, I'll be surprised if I make it the whole year." And then
Oh,
the follow-up text is, "I broke my ankle and dislocated my knee. The dream is over."
the dream is
Also,
over.
what dream?
I I wanted my last dance moment, my Michael Jordan last dance. I was like, you know what? I haven't played like a beer league softball in years. I want to just do it one more time before I hang it up. And man, you know that meme where
One
they say like you
more.
never know when's the last time you play ball with your friends? I do. It's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
It's over,
yeah, you
man.
never
It's
know the
over.
last time. You didn't know that it was going to be the last time while you were doing it the last time.
Yeah.
And you know.
Yeah, I know.
Because you were already nursing injuries for
Right.
years, for decades.
Decades.
And oh man. So when was the last time you dislocated your knee? That was like 2009?
So the
Or
last
did it
time was
happen another time in between there?
so it's happened 3 times now. The first time was back in 2007 when in high school, and a couple of us were drinking, and I was sitting on the back of a car, and it drove off, and I fell and dislocated my knee. The second time I was wrestling
Oof.
with my brother-in-law and dislocated my knee. The third time I was in North Dakota, this was 9 years ago. So last time I dislocated it was 9 years ago, and I was playing football on Thanksgiving Day, a little turkey bowl injury. So that was the last time I played like legit sports. And I thought, oh, I could go back out there and do it again.
Was 2009?
No, 9
I
years
remember
ago.
you had
When
beer
was
league softball in Idaho.
whatever 9 years ago was? 2017,
Oh, okay.
2016. November of 2016 was the
Right.
last time I dislocated my knee.
So a 3 times dislocated knee coming out of retirement 9 years later. I mean, this is like Bernie
Trying to be
Mac
Kurt
and Mr.
Gibson.
3000, like just lay the bunt down and try to beat it out and
And the
give
game
it
was
your
over.
all. And that
It was
could have been your final
over.
moment.
It was my last at bat. It was over. I could have just walked away.
Did you hit the ball at least?
Oh yeah, the ball went
Like-
flying. I launched it.
Oh, that's okay. Then you did have your Bernie Mac moment.
Yeah, I had my moment. I had my Bernie Mac moment because like everybody on my team was looking at the ball and then they see me on the ground.
Just ruined some of these kids' lives forever.
Oh yeah, they were traumatized when they
They'll
saw
always
my leg.
remember.
They remember when the old
Yeah.
man who played softball with them once and he broke his leg.
You're like a happy hour trivia question among friend groups now from that. You're like, what was that? What was that old guy's name who completely fucked his knee and ankle in that softball game? It was like our first game that year, right?
Damn.
Yeah, we
Being
never
known
saw
as
him again.
That old guy.
That one unk. So then, is this surgically repaired yet?
So I had
looking at?
ankle surgery last month. I have a plate and 8 screws in my ankle, and I will have knee surgery hopefully next month. So the recovery process is not over yet. So I'm going to be couch ridden for a little bit longer.
60-day IL, and they're just going to throw you right back on there. Safe to say you are not on the 40-man.
No, I'm completely off the 40-man here, and I'm shocked they didn't DFA me.
And you will be DFA'd. You will be DFA'd eventually. They just legally can't do it yet.
Yeah, they can't do it yet. They can't DFA me yet, but I will be.
You're just a 60-day IL mainstay until that day comes.
It's like Jacoby Ellsbury when he was on the Red Sox, and like you thought he was like retired for 3 years, but he was just on the 60-day IL for multiple seasons.
Right.
Or the Yankees, when he was on the Yankees, he signed that deal with the Yankees, and he was just on the IL for like 3 years.
Yeah. I always thought it was cool though how cool but also kind of cheese how some would do the opposite. Like Roger Clemens would be on the fake IL for half the year with the Astros, and then he would just come out of nowhere and start throwing in the second half of the season when he probably was never actually hurt.
Yeah.
It happens a lot. Like the Dodgers right now have like 20 pitchers on the IL. But are they actually hurt, or are they just trying to save them and make sure that they're healthy for the second half of the season?
Right. Yeah, I have no
and not
idea.
blow their arms out in the first half. I don't know. We'll never know, but well, that was brutal. Good luck, recover. Maybe we'll see you not slouched back on the couch one day on this pod for pods to come.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so that's where I've been.
Eventually have the microphone laying on your yeah. Just lay the microphone on your chest from now on. Just
I'm gonna be on the iron lung, and it's just oh man.
Or just get it like to hang from the ceiling, like straight down, like one of those freestyle videos.
Hell yeah.
You can grab it like it's Michael Buffer. So I get engaged, and this kind of caps off like the where we've been. And so we booked this really nice hotel out in Half Moon Bay. And we're having a great day. I proposed on the second day, and I did it along the coast. And anyways, we come back, and the hotel had like free drinks for us and things set up. Like they were super happy for us. And there was this guy we saw in the elevator the first day that we like said what's up to or whatever. And he just looked kind of like a rich douche. His family, he was with his family. He's wearing like a sweatsuit, kind of reminded me of either like a Rob Kardashian or like a son of like the Sopranos or something. Had a little accent, had a little zesty accent. And then, and so the day that like we were super happy and, you know, we're about to go back up to the room to freshen up before we like go to our dinner. And we see this guy again for either the second or the third time in the hotel. And then so I was like, oh, hey, man. And then he's like, hi. And then she flashes her ring to him as like, look what I got. Like,
look what just
and
happened.
then expecting, right. Yeah. It's like, this is cool. Like, I didn't know that this was happening, and we have seen you around the hotel. Like, isn't this crazy? And he goes, oh. And then he like looks back at me, and then he looks back at her, and then he starts walking away, and he looks back at me, and he goes, hope it lasts.
Oh.
Like, thank you. All right, cool. And she was like, what? Who? Did you talk to him? Like, have you talked to him since? I was like, no. Like, I saw him the same times you did. I don't get it. I think he's just got some spunk to him. So that was like right after proposing. I was like, okay, this is engaged life from here on out. It's a new beast, so we'll take it on.
Man, that would really grind my gears.
Right. I had to get that one off because I can't focus a whole segment on grind my gears there. But speaking of segments, I want to revisit a couple things first before we start implementing and introducing new segments to the podcast, because there's a few old segments that if you're just joining here in season 2, or if you're a season 1 listener, you might be asking yourself, what the hell ever happened to Yackers? Are they just going to move on and we're never going to talk about, the running competition of Yackers? I think there was another segment too that we had going. Oh, it was the predictions. We had MLB predictions.
We had multiple hours dedicated to our predictions.
It might be fun to look back at some point this season and quickly recap the predictions of last year.
Of 2024.
Of last year. And we can get to that. But I wanted to make a disclaimer for all of the confessionites out there that I don't think Yackers is going to come back. I think we had our fun with it. It'll probably be, like I said, a thing that from in season 10, our listeners will be like, yeah, did you know in season 1 they actually did this thing where they tried to guess who was going to hit a home run that week, and they would take turns, and the loser had to pay for the other guy's beers at the last game of the baseball season? Yeah, that never happened.
Yeah, no, none of that happened.
No. So many good shows started with an awkward season 1. So you're feeling it out. You don't really know what it is. I mean, go look at the first 2 seasons of Seinfeld. Not that good.
No, because they didn't know what it was yet, and we didn't know what this was. We started this because we were depressed A's fans. Those days are over now. It's like we didn't know what the hell we were doing in season 1. We were figuring this stuff out on the fly.
Yeah, you can't make recovery unless you make relapse. So that's us coming out of it.
Yeah.
But also Jerry Springer didn't start as the Jerry Springer show we all know.
No.
I mean, that started as like a regular ass talk show.
So, and Bill Burr, the comedian Bill Burr, does a piece on this. Like, Oprah started out more like Jerry Springer, talking about she had some wild guests on back in the early days because she didn't know where she was going. So we're basically Oprah
and Jerry Springer before he started introducing like kissing cousins and shit. And then and that just opened the floodgates to, was it Maury or Maury who did
Maury? Yeah, Maury was more than just Maury did more than just "You're Not the Father" beforehand. He had a whole different. He had like different segments, and that segment just picked like that carried him to the promised land.
Dude, I remember that because I would watch, and my grandma would have it on, and when it would come on, you'd be like, "Oh, I hope it's the paternity test today." Yeah. And if it wasn't, like, you'd still watch, but it would be way better if it was the paternity test day.
Mm-hmm. And you always wanted to be paternity test day on Maury when you're a kid staying home sick or something.
Yeah, and then eventually they're just like, let's just fucking do this every episode. Like, let's just
everybody wants
the entire show.
It's kind of how like First Take got started. First Take was a segment on cold pizza on ESPN, and then First Take took over the world.
They're like, let's just do this the whole time. You know that debate thing we do for like 10 minutes every 2-3 hour show. Yeah, let's just do 2-3 hours of that.
Ugh, I hate that.
And then ruin
that grinds my gears right there.
Yeah. Because I was gonna ask. Yeah. By the way, and that ruined just sports TV shows altogether. Yeah. But Paul, what grinds your gears?
Oh, Rick, so much grinds my damn gears. But one thing that's really grinding my gears is the announcement that Rob Manfred made yesterday, reinstating these dead baseball players from the permanently banned list. I guess permanently banned just doesn't mean anything anymore, so we can just reinstate them once they're dead. The names of Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson and the other members of the 1919 Black Sox have been reinstated and are now eligible to be voted into the Hall of Fame. And I tell you what, I hope it doesn't happen. Pete Rose, yes, he's the all-time hit leader. He did a lot for baseball. He does not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. He cheated. He gambled on baseball. And people are going to be like, oh, well, he bet on his team to win. Well, what about the times he didn't bet? Did he have inside knowledge that his team wasn't going to win? What are we doing here? And there's a huge sign on every single major league clubhouse. And it's like Article 21 or something like that, and some Major League Baseball rules. Do not gamble on baseball. And he did. You do not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And he also was a dickhead ever since he got after the ban started. He was an asshole. He did nothing to save his name. He would go to Cooperstown on Hall of Fame weekend to sign autographs. Screw him.
I take it you're not a Pete Rose guy.
It's not that I'm not a Pete Rose guy. I'm more mad about the people that are trying to say he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He doesn't. Okay. And all these people are oh, he's going to be in now. He's got to be in. You can't tell the story about baseball without him. No, you can't. It doesn't mean he should be in the Hall of Fame.
So you're kind of separating Hall of Fame from what you did on the field. There's there's rules that you must follow as a as a part of the MLB Players Association, where you have to live up to a code.
You have to live up to a code. If you want to be in the Hall of Fame, you have to abide by it. We can still tell great stories about you. I'm sure people have amazing stories of Pete Rose, but that doesn't mean you deserve to be recognized in the Hall of Fame for literally breaking one of the cardinal sins. The 1919 Black Sox scandal almost killed baseball. I know that because every year I watch Ken Burns' baseball documentary, and he has a whole episode just on the 1919 Black Sox, and it almost ruined the game. And so gambling is so prevalent in the game of baseball and how bad it is that we can't just honor them now.
You can make a case that boxing died the worse and worse the fixing of it got, or the just judges being paid off or absurd decisions. And it was like, why am I going to keep watching this thing when it's just not straight up who was the better fighter? And yeah, why would you keep watching baseball if these games are fixed or the players are fixing it? And
I'm not against gambling. I'm definitely not against gambling. I love betting on games and doing stuff like that. But when it's a rule that you can't, then just don't do it. It's one thing you have to do is do not bet on baseball.
So if Pete can't be in because he went against the game, then the next logical thing is that Barry can't be in because he went against the game.
The issue there,
by using PEDs.
So if I had a vote, I would never vote for anybody that did PEDs when they became illegal. The moment they put David Ortiz into the Hall of Fame, that kind of tarnishes everything. David Ortiz pissed hot. Now he's in the Hall of Fame. What does that say about all the other PED users?
Hot.
So yeah, that's a grinding gears for a different segment. But yeah, what really grinds my gears is these people clamoring over Pete Rose. They're like, he's finally gonna get in. I hope there's enough writers that agree that he doesn't deserve to be in. Rant over.
Though I think there'll be enough older writers that don't let him in. Well, is there a 10-year stipulation?
He can't be on the ballot now, but he could get voted in. The issue is now, I just remembered, is he'll be on the Golden Era Committee, and it's a committee of former players and managers and stuff. So they might vote him in. When that would be
okay.
Yeah.
And then that opens the doors for the Bonds and the Sosas and the McGuires.
I do think they all
to then
eventually
take
get
that
in.
route.
It might not even be in our lifetime, but I do think they will all eventually get in.
Yeah.
Rick,
We'll
what
see.
really grinds your gears?
The other day, I saw it was a report by The Athletic that said that the NBA's most overrated player was Tyrese Halliburton. And since then, not only did he lead the Pacers to the playoffs, the Pacers, who no one talks about. I mean, not over here at least. But is leading them past the Knicks. The Knicks beat the Cavs. He led them past the Celtics, I think. Anyways, he's got them in the Eastern Conference Finals by dropping like
Yes.
30 plus. So he's not overrated. My issue is this overrated poll was based off of players' responses. And it's not media, it's not reporters, it's NBA players. And we're always hearing from people like Draymond Green and JJ Redick and I think Austin Rivers and all these guys who were former players who create their own podcast. And, there's Paul George out there. LeBron has, I think, his own podcast or something too. And they get on people who, I'm not homering for Skip Bayless here, but they get on people like Stephen A and Skip Bayless and they go, well, you never played.
Yeah.
You don't know. You can't speak on this because you never played. You didn't play in the NBA. You didn't play in the NFL. And the journalists do take a step back when they get approached like that. And it's like, okay, yeah, you got a point, but what the hell do you guys know? You play the game, but there's so many people that play the game that don't know shit. And sure, you might know what plays you ran and you might have rubbed shoulders with some of the greats, but it doesn't make you smart. And it doesn't mean that I need to listen to you on your take on anything on the sport because you're just a former player. I'm sorry. You didn't go to journalism school. You're not a journalist. You're only in that position because you athletically made it to the league. So it's fine if you're a color commentator. That's what that position is reserved for. But reporter?
Right. That's where you add your expert opinion in as a color commentator.
Like podcast host is not a journalist. But now it is becoming that because of popularity and audience and following. And we just call them that. Like if we had a podcast that was under the comedy section and it was very popular and people laughed at it, we could call ourselves comedians? No, I'm not going on stage and doing 3 hours of stand-up and knocking it out the park like Dave Chappelle. But people are saying that they're comedians. They are labeled comedians because they have a podcast. No, you're a podcast comedian. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, you're just a podcaster. That's all it is. You're a podcaster. You're a person talking.
So you're just a former player. So shut up. The reason it grinds my gears is because we're losing stuff like the sports reporters, Around the Horn, these very much rich shows of journalists and real journalism and people who report on these teams day in and day out. They go to all the games. They're laser focused and they're doing their write-ups as the game goes on and they're publishing every night. Like
publishing
those
game
are the people
stories,
I want to hear
publishing
from,
feature stories, doing
like
all this.
This former athlete who he hates half the league and it's just giving you opinion after opinion and nothing's like really based in fact.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. It's
so you see
it's like ESPN's constantly laying. Oh, yeah, just because it's season 2 doesn't mean we're still not dealing with technical difficulties. But no, it's ESPN. ESPN has laid off so many. Yeah, they've laid off so many reporters and journalists, and because they have to pay the millions and millions to people like McAfee and Stephen A. Smith, and like you just get rid of proper journalism. So then you start just losing the truth, and you're just there for the clicks, and it's a damn shame.
And just all debate and it's all yelling. Well, yeah, I'll yell back, let them know that it grinds my gears. So that's that. But I'm just happy to be back. Season 2 is here. We got picked up. And who knows what's in store? Apparently, there's money behind it this time, so watch out, because the boys are back in town.
Back in town. For old time's sake, do you want to just name that A's player?
I'll do it one more time.
So, Rick, guess that A's player.
Assuming you have a person in mind.
I do.
Or was that a yes or no question?
I have somebody in mind. Name that A's player.
I'm gonna go easy. I have a better name, but I'm gonna go easy, and I'll go Jason Isringhausen.
Ooh. It is not Jason Isringhausen. This player has played for, oh geez, I couldn't tell you how long. He played for baseball for almost 25 years.
Okay. Okay. 5 years. Wow. Matt Stairs.
It is not Matt Stairs. This A's player actually recorded his 3,000th hit as a member of the Padres.
Ricky Henderson.
The greatest Oakland Athletic of all time, Ricky Henderson. And that's how we close out Guess That A's Player.
There we go. Tell you what, we are limping into the finish line here.
Jesus, yeah, it's trying. I don't even know if this part even is going.
Well, that was my confessions. Do you have
It just
any
is trying to
last
reconnect.
confessions,
This
Paul?
is
Thank you for the Ricky Henderson Name That A's Player.
Yeah, as always, again, I don't even know if this is recording on my end anymore. We'll try to do better.
Gotta do better. We gotta do better. We gotta do better.
Gotta do better. We gotta do better.
And
Before
that was
it's too
another
late.
episode of Card Attending Confessions
With Rick and Paul.
I forgot how we end these things.
These are